Here are top 10 wrestlers who were seriously injured but finished the match. Number 10. The Miz. WrestleMania 27. Early during his main event WWE Championship bout with John Cena at WrestleMania 27, The Miz found himself severely concussed when Cena tackled him from the fan barrier to the floor. As shown in more detail on the following night's episode of Raw, Miz's head bounced off the exposed floor, knocking him through a loop and forcing him to continue the match in a confused state, even completing an altercation with The Rock after picking up the win. Recalling the match, The Miz said, "Now, watching back, I can remember it in little bits and pieces. I remember being in it, but I don't remember everything." Number 9. Triple H. Raw, May 21, 2001, as Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin teamed against Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit for the Tag Team Championships. A routine and rather innocuous clothesline to break up the walls of Jericho resulted in Triple H tearing his left quadricep completely off the bone. The game rolled to the outside of the ring and began hobbling over to the announce table to set Jericho up for a spot, in which Triple H was placed in the walls of Jericho on the table, further damaging his quad. Nevertheless, Triple H later managed to use his signature sledgehammer before the finish, but was sidelined for over 8 months. At least he missed the terrible Invasion storyline. Number 8. Shawn Michaels. Royal Rumble, 1998. Before Shawn Michaels' casket match with The Undertaker had hardly got going, Michaels was back body dropped to the outside, his lower back landing squarely on the edge of the casket. Amazingly, Michaels continued the match, taking multiple bumps on his back in the process. The impact led to 2 herniated discs in the lumbar region of Michaels' spine, ultimately prompting him to retire after his WrestleMania 14 match before coming back from a 4-year absence to wrestle for 8 more years. Number 7. Kurt Angle. SummerSlam, 2000. While facing The Rock and Triple H for the WWE Championship, Kurt Angle and the Game were brawling on an announce table as Triple H set him up for a pedigree. As the two jumped, the table broke prematurely and Triple H landed square on Angle's head, knocking him out stone cold. Although he suffered a severe concussion and had to be stretchered out, Angle returned to the match and was involved in the finish that included him taking a bump over the top rope at the hands of The Rock. Number 6. John Cena. Raw, October 1, 2007. While executing a hip toss on Mr. Kennedy, Cena tore his pectoral muscle completely off the bone and was immediately off television. Cena finished the match despite a run-in by Randy Orton afterwards, and although he wasn't meant to return for 7 months following surgery, Cena made a surprise return at the 2008 Royal Rumble 4 months later, going on to win it. Double kudos is deserved for Cena, who recently received a knee to the nose from Seth Rollins, leaving it completely shattered. Despite being unable to breathe from his nose, Cena completed the match and picked up the win. Number 5. The Undertaker. Elimination Chamber, 2010. Before his Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Taker was the victim of an onstage pyro mistake as flames shot up directly beneath the dead man 3 times. Chris Jericho, who was also booked in the match, detailed the incident in his book, saying the incident left Taker with second-degree burns and his coat and hat were charred beyond recognition. His whole upper body was beet red from the fire during the match, but The Undertaker competed in and finished the contest as planned. Number 4. Sting. Night of Champions, 2015. In what was Sting's first match since WrestleMania 31 and only his second WWE match, the Stinger's body didn't have an easy night. Being thrown through an announce table and having your head hit a monitor is bad enough, but being later powerbombed onto the turnbuckle and further aggravating his injuries is a real kicker. At one point, the referee was forced to stop the match as ringside doctors tended to him in the corner and later helped him from the ring. Although Sting caused serious injury to his neck, back and head, his manager Steve Martinez posted to his Facebook that Sting is optimistic about making a full recovery. Number 3. Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania 19. If you're going to make a mistake, you'd better make sure it's not in the main event of WrestleMania. Insert Brock Lesnar opposing Kurt Angle for the WWE Undisputed Championship. A young and inexperienced Lesnar decided a shooting star press off the top rope on an opponent, who was laid out halfway across the ring was a good idea. Yeah, it wasn't, though it was Angle's suggestion. Brock suffered a severe concussion and Kurt Angle recalls Lesnar not knowing where he was, despite the match finishing with an F5 and a victory for Lesnar. Number 2. The Rock. WrestleMania 29. During the long-awaited rematch with John Cena for the WWE Championship, The Rock suffered a hernia, torn abductor and torn abdominal muscle after the first attitude adjustment from Cena. Continuing the rest of the match, the muscle tore from his pelvis and by the time the match had come to its conclusion, both his abdominal and abductor muscles had torn completely off his pelvis. Wrestling is overrated. Stay in Hollywood, Rocky. Number 1. Finn Balor. SummerSlam 2016. Finn Balor vs. Seth Rollins at SummerSlam wasn't generally listed among the matches of the year in 2016. Finn Balor's performance that night was arguably the best that any WWE star delivered all year long. When Seth Rollins powerbombed Finn Balor into the ringside barricade during their Universal Championship match at SummerSlam, somehow, Balor was able to pop his shoulder back in place and not only win the match, which was excellent, but become the inaugural Universal Champion. The next night he relinquished his title on Raw, and had surgery soon after.